Were you all aware that the ATF quietly dropped a game changer for NFA owners yesterday? Stick around. I'll fill you in. All right, patriots, welcome back to Guns and Gadgets. You all know that the NFA is unconstitutional, and we're pushing to have it struck down as we speak. But there's been some big news that dropped out of Washington that could save lawful NFA owners time, money, and a whole lot of paperwork. So, I wanted to pass it on so you would be aware. We're talking about machine guns. We're talking about short-barrel rifles. We're talking about our rights and how to legally move your registered NFA items across state lines without jumping through as many hoops as you used to. All right, let's talk about what the change is and how it helps you and why you still need to pay attention if you want to travel, move, or relocate an NFA item. So, sit tight. Grab some I dropped it. Grab some Blackout coffee. Our Blackout Friday sale has been extended so you can save up to 35% still at blackoutcoffee.com/G&NG. Let's dive in. Great time to stock up. Great stocking stuffers. All right. So what just happened? Yesterday, November 28th, 2025, Friday, the ATF quietly dropped a game changer for NFA owners. According to the form that I read, the Federal Register, the notice on the Federal Register, they're looking to permanently update how registered machine guns and short-barreled firearms can be moved across state lines. What's the big change, you ask? Maybe you're not familiar with NFA items and the rules and restrictions around them. But NF is now digitizing the notification process. It's all part of their Paperwork Reduction Act. So, no more printing, addressing, and mailing a letter or a form to ATF, at least not for many cases. And that means no more paying for postage, no more waiting for snail mail, no more guessing whether you dotted the I's and crossed the T's properly on the form. And according to ATF's notice, the time it previously took to complete that process, the paperwork process, was about 20 minutes, and half of that was just time to address and mail stuff. It's now going to be cut roughly in half according to their estimates. ATF estimates it will take just 10 minutes total. Now the savings won't just apply to you. The agency says the overhaul will reduce their annual burden hours from 6,667 hours to about 2,151 hours. That's a drop of about 4,516 man-hours. Less paperwork, less waste, more efficient oversight on the people who are taking way too long to approve applications already. So they can use that 4,516 hours to actually do what they should have been doing. It's all unconstitutional anyway. I can hear people's steam coming out of the ears. The bottom line, the ATF acknowledges that part of the NFA error controls have become needlessly burdensome, and this is a small but meaningful rollback of some of that burden. Now, why do we need this update in the first place, you ask? Why was it so difficult to transport NFA items across state lines? If you don't know, you don't have an NFA item. Under the National Firearms Act, certain firearms like machine guns and short-barreled rifles, short-barreled shotguns, and any other weapons, they're all subject to registration, tracking, and strict transport forms. If a law-abiding citizen owns one of these NFA items and wants to move it to another state, say you live on a border town kind of like I do, and you want to go north 12 minutes and go into a different state, whether it's temporary or for a trip or for some training, you want to go to a school or because you relocate permanently, well, the owner would have to obtain prior approval from ATF, and that is done via ATF's Form 5320.20, which is the application to transport, interstate, or temporarily export certain NFA items. Historically, that meant writing out a request or filling out paper forms, mailing them in, and waiting for this stamped approval to come back to you. A process that could take weeks or longer, especially with delays. So say a class opened up at Valor Ridge and you live, say, in Kentucky, in Middlesboro, Kentucky, and you want to just go under the tunnel into Harriet, which is Tennessee, which is where Valor Ridge is. Maybe that takes you 18 seconds and it was a last-minute class that opened up and you wanted to take your SB there. Well, you couldn't last minute take that class because you had to beg for approval from ATF and wait for that paperwork to come in. That is, of course, if you wanted to do it the right way. And for many owners, that meant you either stayed put or risked crossing state lines illegally with an NFA item. Now, this red tape barrier has long been a sore spot among many 2A folks, especially those who legitimately needed to travel with their registered machine guns or short-barreled firearms again for training, relocation, or legal transport between the states that allow them. Yes, there are some states that don't allow a Second Amendment protected item, but we're working on that. We're working on that. Now, this new digitized update from ATF doesn't erase the requirement entirely. It should, but you still need to notify ATF and get approval when moving NFA items across state lines, but the process will be much faster now. It'll be easier and cheaper and far less of a hassle. Many of you have asked me about my hoodie. You guys have already heard about bearskin hoodies and you've been maybe waiting to get one for yourself. Well, now is the time. It's officially hoodie season. You've seen me wear this a few times, whether it's a cold morning like today or a windy day. Surprise snow. Right now, Bearskin is running their biggest deal of the year. We're taking 60% off for Black Friday through Cyber Monday. And now is the time to do it. This isn't some old fleece. It's built of 340 grams per square meter bearskin fleece. It's got 10 pockets, 2 fields for patches. It's very athletic looking. It actually looks good on you. Plus, if it starts pouring, you can zip on their heavy storm rain jacket and instantly level up to full waterproof protection. You'll get free U.S. shipping from their U.S. warehouse and gear that'll last you season after season. They're extremely soft. They're very warm. They're very lightweight, easy to pack. So, here's what you need to do to get 60% off. Text GNG to 36912. Again, text GNG to 36912, or use that QR code to go over to the website that's listed below as well, and they'll text you back a link if you text them so you can lock in your 60% off before the sale disappears. And don't wait until the weather gets really bad. Grab a bearskin now while this Black Friday deal is live. And one more thing, when you support Bearskin, you're also supporting the fallen outdoors and the Hope for the Warriors Veterans Program. So, you're not just buying great gear, you're backing a cause that matters. Grab your bearskin while this Black Friday sale deal is live by texting GNG to 36912. Thanks to Machinegun for sponsoring the video. Alright, so what does the ATF filing actually mean in plain English if you own an NFA firearm and you want to travel more? Well, let's talk about the benefits. Faster turnaround. The paperwork that once took 15 to 20 minutes plus mail time now takes about 10 minutes total. No more postage or mailing costs. Fill it out online, send it electronically. Quicker approvals, less downtime between when you decide to move and when you can legally transport your gun. Reduces the hassle and the barrier for legal law-abiding gun owners, which good for people relocating, traveling, visiting other states, going to training, or attending shooting events, but it's also not a free pass. The transportation notification and approval requirement is still alive. You still need to submit for interstate transport of machine guns or SBS via Form 5320.2020 or whatever the new digital equivalent is going to be called. You must check state and local laws of your destination and any states that you pass through. Just because the ATF approves it federally doesn't mean the state you're cutting through allows the possession of it. There is a way to legally transport firearms. Make sure you know that stuff. And this only applies to registered machine guns and SPS's unregistered NFA firearms, or those not lawfully possessed under NFA registration. That unconstitutional burden still remain a legal risk. The digitization is a procedural improvement, not a repeal. NFA controls still are in force. They're serialized, they're registered, background checks, all that stuff still applicable, including the tracking. So, if you're a law-abiding owner and you do things the right way, this update is a victory for you. If not, well, nothing has changed for you, except maybe a false sense of comfort. Now, from where I stand, this is the kind of incremental reform that will help those who do have NFA items, or those who were considering getting some. Not because it makes the gun laws fine, because it just chips away at the administrative burden that punishes lawful owners. They're still there, though. Now, for decades, the NFA has been a heavy, arbitrary set of restrictions. Born in 1934 when regulators feared gangsters would sawed off guns. But in 2025, we're not worried about Prohibition-era gangsters. We're just ordinary Americans. We're veterans. We're hunters. We're sport shooters. We travel. We move to different states for jobs or to better our lives. We attend training across state lines. Forced transfers, complicated paperwork, long wait times, those are barriers to lawful ownership. This update shows that even a federally regulated bureaucracy can be nudged toward common sense when enough pressure builds. And for you, the viewer, this means more freedom, more flexibility, and less bureaucratic friction to travel with your NFA items. Let's call it a small administrative win, one that makes a real difference in the day-to-day lives of NFA owners. This update from ATF underscores a bigger truth. The NFA still exists. Bureaucracy still governs. Permission slips are still required, and state laws still matter. If you care about protecting and restoring full Second Amendment rights, the fight isn't just in the courts or Congress. It's also pushing for full reforms like getting rid of the NFA. So support those groups who are suing right now in court to make that happen. It's crazy, and understand that most people are saying screw the NFA. I get it. But there are people who own these items and they need to know that it's probably going to be a little bit easier for them if they want to attend a training or travel, stuff like that. There are some openings. There still is an opening right now for written comments on this. Like I said, it was just submitted to the Federal Register yesterday. ATF is asking the public for feedback with their comment window open until January 27th, 2026. So here's what I want you to do right now. Share the video. Tag your friends who own or want to own NFA firearms. Save the spiel. Let's get off our soapbox. If they have them, let them know this is going to make it easier for them. They know that it's unconstitutional, believe me. Let's make sure every gun owner knows that for once there's a little less red tape for them to deal with what the items they have, at least for lawful transport. And while you're at it, drop a comment down below. Are you planning to move or travel with any NFA-registered firearms? Have you been burdened by the old system? I want to hear your stories. Stay safe, stay sharp, stay armed, and stay free. This is Guns and Gadgets, the premier source for Second Amendment news. I am your host, Jared, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.